Go to dance, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know you want to got nerves.
You want a pop lock? You want a pop lock?
You know you want to do it, dog. Man. Man, oh, I can hit it. I can hit the microphone good this time, man. Of course, not really. I just want to see if y'all been paying attention, bro. That's all. Man. Bro, it's just like you behind the glasses. We right here across from each other, man. You like, all right. I'm like, okay, bro, I'm on. Good evening. This is your host, Joaquin Thompson, with the Daily Bread Radio Show, coming to you live from. Somebody asked me today, man, Snellville. That's where we coming from. Snellville. Oh, man, we got to take. Oh, we got, man, don't play, man. We got to do a show in Duval. Gotta do it. So I'm trying to figure out which one to do in Duval, though, man. You know what I'm saying? We had that big Reigns and Reebok event every year, man. I'm like, it was so crowded last year. I was like, I don't even know if I could do a show on a Friday night. I'm gonna have to do a special edition or something. Mm-hmm. I gotta do something for the home team. Gotta do something for the home team.
Brian.
So, yeah, man. That's my that's who was just singing.
Yeah.
You supposed to know about now.
That's what I'm saying. The legend, bro.
Right.
The legend.
Bro, I've been getting some comments. You doing a little too much talking, man.
I'm doing too much talking.
You doing too.
I'm talking too much.
We got guests, and you doing too. I need you to play with the dials or whatever you do. And that dude Brian called me too, man. Said, hey man, what's that? He said it all along. He said, I get it right now. I said, bro, you got it. You got it, man. But,
he ain't got it right, bro.
So for those of you that are joining for the first time, this show is about personal finance. And it's personal finance from a spiritual standpoint. We don't do religion because we know how people are about religion, but what we do is spirituality, because it's my belief that regardless of what religion you practice, you know, you might be Muslim, you may be Buddha, Christianity, I mean, whatever, Judaism, whatever, you know, everything comes up to one point, and it's just one. It's only one. So I don't want to get into that debate. I don't want to talk about who's right, who's wrong, what's this, what's that, and that way I don't have to, get into that. But from a spiritual standpoint, I think that's common ground, right? Because it don't matter where you are in the world, everybody understands when we say God. So, and it's my belief that everything is tied to personal finance. So regardless of your job, your relationship, where you live, what you drive, what you're wearing, what you got in your bank account, what you don't have in your bank, I mean, whatever, how you feeling, career, entrepreneurship. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. And that's what this show is about. This show is about just having a conversation about personal finance. The number to the show, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. I see my brother George Lee. He's on. That's one of the homies from Atlanta. But now he's down in where? Duval!
Who you with?
But George, man, I said, hey, man, he a good dude, man. He a good dude. And definitely, man, the next time I'm in Jackson, man, what is up with this? Let me cut my phone off, man. I don't know what's going on with this ESPN app. I was trying to look at the Kobe Bryant thing now. Every time something happening, I know the draft tonight. Every time something happened, man, but the phone is ringing and carrying on, so I'm going to I'm gonna put that out the way. But yeah, definitely, George, I appreciate you joining, the broadcast. But if you want to call in, you can give me a call as well. If you got something on your mind, you got a question, a comment, what have you. But George he's down in Duval. Seen Bubba D, aka Brian Stewart, on as well. That's my ace. That's my right hand man. I mean, we've been rolling like 46 years and counting. So
It's the same.
46. That's a long time. 46 years. But that's my brother. And I see my lovely wife on, Tanya Alfred Thompson. Always supported Rock. I know she's tired. We've been we've been grinding the last 2 days. Well, we've been grinding, boy. There's something about when you're trying to get something done, man. It's something about, and you got a deadline, boy. You talking about it ain't no time to get tired.
No, can't.
Boy, I had a flashback to the bakery. We was like, let's go to 4. We're gonna go to 4, get a quick nap, and get back on it like 8, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Cause this right here has to happen. There's no being late. There's no nothing. So that's what we was on the last 2 days. But special shout out to my lovely wife, and she helped. I mean, she's joined us live in the studio. She said she wanted to come out today. What? That's what I said the same thing. I was like, what? Oh yeah, I want to go out. I said, well, come on the show. I'm talking like Freezer. But we gonna do what we do, man, and we're gonna have a good time. Got some great topics want to talk about. Because I'm always talking about just stuff that's on my mind. But it's all tied back to personal finance. We're gonna start off. It's summer school. It's summertime. It's June. So I'm taking the whole summer. This summer school, right? So we're not gonna just be talking about stuff. I gave everybody some homework last week. George, I know you went in class last week, so I'm a repeat the homework assignment.
But you do get the absentee.
No, you gonna get the absentee. Don't worry about it. I'll talk to him outside of class, but he gonna get that because he's supposed to be on there every week. That's one of the homies. But I was encouraging people to do some research on YouTube and Google. Go out and look up Jay Morrison. Brother's name is Jay Morrison, and he's the founder and creator of the Jay Morrison Academy based out of Atlanta. And he does a lot of personal finance teaching. He has an academy where he teaches people about real estate, how to invest, talks to them about funding. He has one-on-one coaching. I mean, just great opportunities for people to just really expand their knowledge base, but then also expand into a space where you may not be as well versed, but it's also going to help you to be a lot more astute about your money, how to invest, especially with real estate. I mean, you can't go wrong with real estate. So the thing about it is, I was encouraging all of my listeners to go out, and right now what he's done is he's created what's called the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Tulsa Real Estate Fund, after Tulsa, Oklahoma, has ties back to Greenwood, Oklahoma, which was where Black Wall Street was located before all of those activities took place to wipe that out. From a hate standpoint, but so it has ties back there. But I'm not gonna, do everything, do his story justice about this fund. But in a nutshell, the fund is about us being able to invest in us through this fund. I mean, he's going through all of the paperwork, has it approved through the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. So everything's legit, above board, and what he's looking to do is he's raising funding so you can invest in the fund. And as an investor into the fund, he's going into inner city locations around the nation, DC, New York, Jacksonville, Atlanta. And he's invested in these different areas. And what happens is if you're a part of the investment group, then as those investments grow, your money grows. So the initial investment is $500. Most of us can, either we got 500 or we can come up with 500, right? They invest in us. So instead of buying, about 5 dinners? Instead of buying the next 5 dinners, just eat at home. Especially in Duval, you can just get a pot of crabs and keep it moving, or barbecue. But the initial investment is only $500. The other thing that I'm doing is I did reach out to his team. I reached out to him last week and this week. to see how to put in a request to have him either call into the show, or hopefully I can get him to come on the show because he's in Atlanta. Maybe he'll come out to.
Yeah.
I can't tell him initially though we're in Snellville.
Yeah, you have to.
Because they like, nah, because people think it's too far. Like when somebody asked me earlier, like, where the show? I was like, I said in Atlanta. They said, where at in Atlanta?
No side. No side. No side.
They said, where in Atlanta? I said, Snellville. That ain't Atlanta. I try, man. Every time I get a chance, I try. I say Atlanta, then if somebody asks me the next question, where at in Atlanta? I just, I can't lie. I'm like, this is Snellville.
No side.
That ain't Atlanta. We gonna keep working. We gonna keep working on it, man. We don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry. Eric Strickland, I see you, man, celebrating your anniversary in the DMV. Man, give me a call, homie. Give me a call, 678-381-1973. I see you've been in the DMV for 3 years, and I lived in the DMV like 11 years. Went to school there, and then thought I was gonna stay there. I thought that was it. Like, I ain't going back to Duval. I'm gonna be here the rest of my life, and then one, then two, then three, then go. We could, well, you talking about beat you in the head, boy. When you young, you ain't making no money. You live in the DMV, but you getting your head beat in. But yeah, special shout out. Eric is Strick is one of my classmates and the homies. You know, we grew up together. So definitely, Mike Mitchell, appreciate you. That's the home team. That's them.
Uh-oh.
That's them. So you know, that's my chapter brother, man. So I appreciate you. You know, support. And he from where? Duval.
North Carolina.
Dude, no, I ain't gonna start, man. I gotta calm down. But then I got a couple topics I wanted to touch on tonight, and the first topic I want to talk about is God, and the reason I want to talk about that is it's funny how you could be working on something and you think you got everything planned out. Like, this is what I have planned for my life. This is what I'm going to be doing, and all of a sudden God will come on your path and He will speak to you through people. Because if you think about it, I've never really had a face-to-face conversation with God, right? But anytime that He wants to speak to me, and if you're in tune, if you're listening, He'll speak to you through people. Your heart, man, even deeper than heart to heart, soul to soul.
Come on, man. Come on.
Soul to soul. I'm talking about soul to soul, and I'm gonna give you the short version. I take my car to get like these courtesy car washes at the dealership, and it was a gentleman there that sold me the car. Great brother, Joe Williams, and he's a minister. I found out after the fact that he's a minister. But when I went, I was looking for Joe, but Joe had moved on. He got a promotion, and I want to say he's the GM at another local dealership, and met another brother, right? Just standing there waiting on my car to get detailed. Met this brother, but I could tell he was older than me, right? And me and him just got to talking, and then he said something like, "Oh, you look like you was in the military." I said, "No, I wasn't in the military." I said, "But you look like you was in the military." He said, "Yeah, I was in the military." Then we got to talking, and long story short, he was in special forces, right? Special ops, like black ops. But when I said, I said, "Oh, you was in Navy SEAL," he looked at me like he got offended. He was like, "Navy SEAL?" He's like, "Nah." He's like, he said, "I trained Navy SEALs." I was like, "Oh my goodness." I said, "So you a monster then." But we got to talking, and he started telling me and talking to me about God and what God was going to be, what he saw God doing in my life. And I was like, "Man, I just met you. I don't, But he started telling me about special forces and about life. Like I said, older guy, older than me, and he was explaining to me one of the time we talked about several different things related to God, but one of the things that he shared with me was that in special forces, one of the things that they're trained to do is to be intensely, listen to this, intensely patient. Intensely patient. And I was like, intensely patient? What is that? And he said, so I ran back into him recently, because I kept saying, "Well, what does that mean?" I said, intensely patient. But I ain't asked him at that time, because I ain't, that was my first time meeting him, so I ain't want to, you know, I ain't want I ain't wanted to do one of them, you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? You got to feel people out, man, because I don't know if he one of them type of special. Some people cool with it, and some people might just, what you say, bro?
What you say?
Like, hey, dog, but he wasn't like, he good. He good. I did ask him to come on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
First thing he told me, he said, because of his clearance.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no. He went straight military, and he's like, no, because of my clearance?
Mm-hmm.
No. He's like, I cannot do radio. I was like, all right, that's cool. I said, but back to the intensely.
Don't ask me no more.
He like my mentor now, man. I mean, but just the way God speaks to people, I asked him, I said, well, what? I said, explain to me, what does it mean to be intensely patient? And he said, okay, I'm going to explain it to you like this. He said, when in special ops, when we used to go on missions, one of the things that we trained for was we always train, and this is another, just to digress a little bit, but just to have a conversation with everybody. He said one of the things that we train for, we don't train, he said in special ops, we don't train for the things that you expect. He said in special, when you get to the level of being in special ops, Green Beret, Navy SEALs, he said the only thing we train for is for all the stuff that can go wrong. He said, so the pilots, when the pilot is in a plane and he's in special ops or part of that special ops unit, then every time that he takes off, he's planning for a crash. So he's practicing what he's going to do if the plane crashes. He said, same thing when they're on the ground. He said, but we train all the time for all of the things that are going wrong. He said, but being intensely patient, that's the thing that keeps you from being killed or living. And he said, let me explain it to you. He said, a lot of times when you're in battle, you train, everything going good, you fine. He said, but once the bullets start flying and people start getting killed, he said, what happens then is people, going to what you were saying earlier, you said heart to heart. He said, people start to lose their center, and you think, like, I got to do something. Like, you're in the right place, you behind a shield or you in a bunker or whatever, but all this stuff is going on and you seeing people screaming and dying and, you know, everything going on around you. You just feel compelled, like, I need to do something. He said, but what happens is if you don't realize that you need to be patient and wait for the right moment, then what will happen is you put yourself in danger. He said, being in danger, he said, moving too fast is the same thing as moving too slow. I said, oh my God. I said, what you say? He said, moving too fast is the same thing as moving too slow. He said, because if you move too slow, something's going to happen to you. He said, if you move too fast, something's going to happen to you. He said, because I done seen men that were in a safe position, and then they started to, not so much panic, but they felt like they needed to do something. I need to go help. He said, they ran out, bam, got blown up or shot, killed, whatever. He's like, so it's hard. He said, so it's the same metaphor in life. You have to wait and be patient. He said, all kinds of stuff is going on around you. You know, stuff's going on at home, stuff's going on in the job, stuff's going on in your personal life, and you feel compelled, like, you know what, I need to do something to change this or make it better. And he said, what you need to do is you need to start practicing on having a God-like mind. He said, so don't have your mind, right? He said, because people always say, I wasn't in my right mind. He said, don't even have your mind. You should be trying to have a Christ-like mind. Because in a Christ-like mind, you're not going to move until he tells you to move, right? And that's what's going to preserve your life. So I was like, man, that's deep. I was like, bro. He said, and as a special ops person, when you wait, he said, we can wait on a person for weeks just to get the right shot. He said, we can wait on a person for weeks. He said, most people will just get impatient and like, no, we're just going to go in and get them. He said, no, we're going to wait. We're going to wait right here because we know, at some point and sometime he's gonna cross our path and we're gonna take him out. But we're gonna wait. We're not gonna rush. And I was like,
That person
that's
living-
deep, man.
That person living on borrowed time.
Huh?
That person is living on borrowed time because when they go through
Right.
that.
But not so much they living on borrowed time, but here's the thing though. If you're not patient, right? Because and he was speaking to me, and I was like, he said, if you're not patient and you thinking you're not in the right job, or you're not in the right relationship, or you're not doing the right things, or where you are at this point in time in your life, you will move, right? I need to get a new whatever. I need a new companion. I need a new job. I need a new, whatever, right? He said, but if you move too quickly or you move too slowly, something's gonna happen to you. And I was like, dang. So I think about personal finance, and a lot of times what happens is most people think you get in trouble when you don't have money, right? When you broke, like what we call broke. Broke really is not broke. Broke is just it being in a mind state like I don't have. That's broke, right? Poverty is something different. That means you have a certain lack of income coming in. That's being in a poverty type of situation. But when you're in a broke type of mindset and you thinking, I gotta do something, right? So when you thinking like I gotta do something, that I gotta do something is like what? You start to do things that you might not be in your character, like
Panic.
yeah, not even just panic, but I'm gonna sell some drugs. But you ain't no drug dealer, right? It's like, you gonna do what? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell some weed because I'm gonna make, like, you gonna sell some weed, but you ain't no drug dealer. You don't sell drugs. You ain't come. Oh yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna tell them I work overtime and I did, but you moving too fast. So what the moral of the story is we as a people, we have to learn how to be intensely patient. Patient, and that goes back to the Bible in Job, right?
Yeah.
That's where that term came from, right? The patience of Job. Why does it come from the patience of Job? And I've heard about Job, but recently has been one of the first times that I've read the book of Job. But he brought that up too. He said, you know what? He said Job lived, I think he said 120 years. And I ain't no minister. I always have to paraphrase. So don't have me lying on it. You a minister? You a minister?
No.
And you told me you was a minister.
We all minister.
That's the only reason I'm on this show. You told me you was a minister. But
No.
You told me.
No.
Man, don't. Don't.
I told you this was my ministry.
Oh, now you going. Okay, now we going there. Now we going
I
there.
said this is my
You sound like Don King. You didn't say.
Only America.
I didn't say I was going. I didn't say I was a minister. I said this is my ministry. That's like what he told Mike Tyson, right? I said you was gonna get paid, but I didn't mean you was gonna get paid a lot of money. Man, what did you talk about, bro? You told me, okay, all right, man, you gotta. Boy, man, every time I come in here, man, I've been coming almost 2 years. Well, so what else your ministry? What, the Dials? Is that your ministry, the Dials? We about to take that down.
Never.
No, we gonna take that down.
Never.
I'm telling you, man, that ain't in my contract. I don't want to see it back there no more.
Dirty Knees Ministry.
Matter of fact, I'm about to take it down now. I ain't gonna do it to you though, man, because I got love for you, man. But watch that, minister. And now they don't want to see you, man. Stop trying to get on the air. But you need to be patient, bro.
Okay.
You gonna be able to get on the show.
One day.
No, I told you by the time we on episode 57.
Where your co-host at?
What co-host?
Cornbread.
Man, I ain't heard from Cornbread. Busy, man. Cornbread in New York. Cornbread got a lot of stuff going on, man. So Cornbread will be on soon, man. I ain't gonna.
Oh, Cornbread.
Cuz I'm trying to see what did Cuz say, man? What did she put in there, man? That's my cousin, man. She need, man. That's what I need to have on, man. She got a deep story. Cuz we're gonna have you on. You're gonna be one of my guests coming up soon. Cuz I wanna tell you a story, man. I got a cousin, man. She a judge. So you keep talking.
Mm-hmm.
You keep talking, man. I'm gonna call my cousin. She a judge.
Alicia?
Yeah.
She said, tell the man in the background stop talking so much.
And she a judge. Did you hear that?
No, she said, laugh.
I hope she said that, man. Tell that guy in the background stop talking so much. Is that what she said? Because I said you be taking up all my airtime.
She said, laugh out loud, cuz you tripping.
No, he tripping. Hey, we gonna. Hey, I need a judge to call in here. I don't need an attorney. I need a judge.
678.
678-381-1973. But when I was speaking to that brother, just thinking about it, man. Just thinking about what he was saying to me. And when God is talking, see, a lot of times we pray. See, when you pray, you praying, right? But a lot of times when God starts speaking to you, if you're not opening, and when we got to the end of the conversation, you know what that brother told me? He said, I know I'm speaking to your spirit. He said, right now, I'm not speaking to you man to man or person to person. He said, I'm speaking to you spirit to spirit.
Yeah.
He said, the only reason that you get this message is because the only time that you get good messages is when you interact and you come into contact with other good messages. I said, man, give me my car, man. Let me get out of here. You might make me buy something in here, man. But I'm like, that's so deep. He said, because if you weren't, he told me, he said, if you weren't who you were, I wouldn't be able to deliver the message that I'm delivering to you. I said, God damn. Woo, that's deep, man.
Yeah.
That is deep. But I think that was one of the things I was thinking, man, I keep coming back to you, but one of the things I was thinking about you too, man, was early this week I was looking at somebody had a successful team of people, right? But the person that was on the team of people, it was business people. Caller, you on with Joaquin with the Daily Bread Radio Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name's Judge.
I told you. I told you don't play, boy. I told you, man, my cousin don't play that. Hey.
Not guilty.
No, she ain't asked you to enter no plea.
Not guilty.
I'm trying to learn something. So if I call and talk, I can't listen and learn.
I know. Because I get it. I know. I'm just trying to let him know that if he get out of line, hey,
Go ahead.
man, don't be having no feedback when my cousin calling him, man.
Not guilty.
Bro, you guilty, man. You
Not guilty.
Alicia.
You're doing good, King. I'm proud of you.
Hey, girl. Hey, I love you. I appreciate you being on. But for real, I'm gonna have you come on.
I have class on Mondays and Wednesdays now in summertime, so
Okay.
I was like, I should check. You know, it always changes depending on what I'm doing.
Hey, man.
But it's great to see you and see what you're doing. You catching up to that 100 real quick, nigga.
Hey. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hey, man. Hey, yeah, go and get off the phone before because you know they have you on Twitter tomorrow morning. You be on the front page of the Orlando Sentinel. Judge says, woo.
You call me on the line. Okay.
I'll call you on the other line later on.
Tell we'll beep it out.
Okay.
Hey, girl, I love you, girl.
Thank you.
Hey, man, but you see how quick? No, I wasn't gonna say. Bruh, listen now. I wasn't gonna say that part, but since she. Bruh, so just imagine that. Look, so you know what's going down. You go to her court. No, it ain't gonna be nice, bro. It ain't gonna be. Cause look, look, man. I'm gonna give y'all the short version. This joke ain't about this tall, man. Like we was growing up, but it was all boys. Like the first cousins, it was all boys and two girls. I had an older cousin, Paula, and then Alicia, right? Alicia's smaller than every other one of her boy cousins, right?
Okay.
Every time you see her, what she want to do? Fight.
What?
Oh, no, not want to.
She fight.
What? Did you just hear what she said?
I heard her.
She slipped and she got comfortable. She wasn't in that, judge. She was in that.
She had taken the roll ball.
Bruh, she ain't, and she ain't one of them talkers either.
Yeah.
Like you'd be talking to me, bah! You know how some of the people you be talking, like what you want to boop?
I understand.
They know what you want to do. It's like before you could get out, what you like. Ah! But hey man, she got an awesome story, man. I love her, man. I'm glad she's my cousin. Awesome brother too, Alexis. And one of the reasons that Well, he's the main reason, not one of. He's the number one reason that I joined this fraternity. Because I emulate. He was my cousin, but he was like my big brother. But again, being intensely patient, just being patient, man, and that's one of the things that I mean. This show, I think about this show so much, man. It's crazy. I mean, it's literally like,
That is, go ahead.
man, turn that darn machine off, man. Why you
Fix your mic. Fix your mic.
fix my mic?
Yeah, your head leaning. Your head
Man,
leaning
get
the
some
wrong-
equipment that work,
Your
man.
head leaning the wrong way.
I'm not coming in.
Your head leaning the wrong way.
Hey, man, look, man. I'm not coming in here. I'm not coming in here next week
Yeah, you are.
unless you get this equipment working right.
It's already fixed.
No, it ain't, man. I keep hearing this squeaking. What's all this squeaking?
Mix it.
Man, take that watch off, man. That's probably part of
Oh,
it.
you see that, don't you? Oh, you see that, don't you?
Bruh.
You see that,
Bruh.
don't
You don't want none of this. You don't want none of this. Them Jaguars, I already told you. Mike Thomas, go back and look at the tape. Mike Thomas got a big old thing of spit in his beard. He had so much spit in his beard. And not one person on the Pittsburgh sideline would even say, hey,
It
man.
was frozen, man. Who gonna
Hey,
touch
man,
it?
you got something in your beard, bro. They didn't even say that because Leonard Fournette was like this. He was running around like he was out there stealing TVs.
Big Ben was
Big Ben was looking like, hey, you got another touchdown? But anyway, I ain't gonna fool with that, man. But let's just stay on that, man. That's really the word. The main topic for the day is just being intensely patient. Another topic that I want to talk about, and again, this is all tied to personal finance. So if you think about this. I mean, I know a lot of us are at an age where, and even for young people, anybody, sometimes we have to make choices, right? Titles, listen to this. Titles versus freedom. Titles versus freedom. What do I mean? I've been seeing some research recently about people, especially when they get into like the middle years, right? What they call the middle years, middle age. They have this conflict going on whether like, should I keep ascending to higher positions, or should I really be trying to do something that's going to give me some freedom, right? Should I really be trying to work in my gifting? And if you think about it, think about people who are on like the Forbes 400 list, or the richest people in the world. They don't really care about no title,
Yeah.
right?
Don't
Like I don't even, like
even think about it.
they ain't even think, it don't even cross their mind. Like they don't even ask, because they like title. Like I'm it. That's it. I'm. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and don't get me wrong, I get it. We do different things, and if you're doing what you do because it's passion, it's love, I get it. But if you got another passion of love, at some point during your lifespan, because your life is not unlimited, it's a limited period of time. It's not infinite. We should all commit to taking part of that life, whatever we've been doing. Take part of that life and really pursue and get committed to doing what's going to make you happy. And who's going to make you happy.
Exactly.
And what's going to make you happy. And why it's going to make you happy, right? Because it ain't always just about making money. But just think about how happy you would be if you was into, whatever you into. Like running a radio station.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Raheem been doing this for several years, but it's a passion. And that's what I talked about before. It's like a lot of people can't compete with me. That's why I'm like, I'm not even concerned, worried, think about it. People be talking about other person. I'm like, man, they can't compete with me on this platform because I got passion and I'm in my gifting. So I'm saying that I'm trying to encourage some people. I don't, like the minister say, don't,
Tell him.
bruh, don't, something else, man, about minister. You a minister, right?
This is my ministry.
See, there you go again. I done gave you 2 opportunities, man, to clean it up. And here you go. Talking about,
We all ministers, though. You're a minister.
I know I'm a minister, man. One of my partners, Skill broke it down. He did me. He did me like I was his son. He said, I don't never want to hear you say you ain't no minister. I was like, I said, look, I was on there. I said, I ain't no minister. I don't pass no plate. I don't get the big piece of chicken. I don't get to eat first. I said, I ain't no minister. He said, as soon as I got out there, he called me. He said, hey, listen.
Don't you know?
He said, don't you never. He said, don't you ever. No, he didn't even say never. He said ever.
Ever.
He said, don't you ever let me hear you say you're not a minister. You are a minister. You're a minister of finance. I said, oh, okay.
Yep.
I was like, all right. And so since that day,
You're a minister.
I'm a minister.
So,
So, and that's working in my gift.
yeah.
So,
then-
I
yes,
mean-
I'm a minister.
Yeah, but I'm like, titles, I mean, sometimes titles like, titles can get a little played out, you know, a little bit. Because sometimes people be approaching me, telling me they title. I'm like, and then I look down and see their shoes. I'm like, I don't know what to think. I don't, you know. People ask me what I do. I just say I'm a nurse, right? I don't go into my title. Because when I say my title, then they like, oh, so you know, I'm like, I'm a nurse. Hey, that's what I do. I'm a nurse. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. But if they ask me about this, I tell them, man, I'm the host of my own radio show. And then the question comes. What's the question?
Where is that?
What station you on? You on? And it's not going down here from there. You on AM or FM? And I say, I'm on the internet. Oh, that ain't no radio station. That's a podcast. I'm like, I ain't no podcast, it's a radio station. I ain't on it, you know.
Tell me, come look at that board.
Man, I'm getting my own, I need to have my own board too.
Really?
My own board. I'm the #1 personality.
Hey,
Bar none.
Are you being divish?
Oh no, never that, man. Never that. I'm the most humble. I'm probably one of the most humblest people you gonna ever meet in life.
That's a word, ain't it?
That is a word. Humblest. Humblest.
That mean that humbler?
That mean more humbler than. That mean more humbler than the next one. I'm humblest. That sounds like a nationality, right? So you black, no, I'm humblest. Where you from? You from Africa? No, I ain't from Africa. I'm humblest.
I'm a humbler.
I'm from Humbleia, okay. All right, well, so you black, white, other, no, I'm humblest. Boy, I get food, man. That's why I can't come in here, man, with y'all, man, because y'all just get off track, bro. I'm trying to stay on track, but
Okay.
titles, freedom. Because one thing about freedom, man, it's nothing greater than waking up in the morning. And I know sometimes we experience it like when you take a day off, man. But it's nothing more fulfilling than waking up in the morning and the first thought you think is like, man, what am I gonna do today? Not like clocking in or, I mean, that's one of the big ones for me is just the freedom to do what you want to do and go where you want to go. I mean, I know, I just see my son and my daughter just joined. Shout out to Ashley and Joaquin. I know Nia's, just getting off from work or, making her way. So we got the whole fam on. Got TT in the studio, but she don't want to come on the air. But that freedom, man, is just it's so addictive. Because I was off for a week. Now I want to be off for a month. But I'm trying to figure out a way that I could be off for 30 days instead of 2 weeks. A man who says he cannot be done should not interrupt the man doing it. Ooh. Did you make that up?
I just know my buddy just shared a little thing.
Oh, wow.
A
A
man.
man who says it cannot be done should not interrupt the man doing it. That's right. So that's what I'm telling you. Put a cap on it, bro. I'm doing it. I'm from Humblest.
Humblia.
I'm from Humbleia, and I'm doing it. So I'm just saying, shout out to you too, Pat. I'm doing all the shout. Pat logged in last week, man, from Virginia Beach, bro.
What?
Yeah, I was on vacation. She said she was probably like, enjoying herself. Like, man, it's Thursday. Oh my goodness.
See, that's what.
Hey, listen, man. I got a bone to pick, too, though.
Uh-oh.
Listen to this. I'm trying to figure out if I could. What's this? This May, June. I'm trying to figure out if I could take off in June. I'm gonna take off in June and come back in like November. Do you think I'll still have an audience?
No.
Man, people going crazy about Power. Everywhere I go, I'm like, hey man, what's going on? Power come back on next week. I'm like, all right, bro. I ain't.
Good.
I'm like, okay, I didn't know, but I'll watch. But I'm just saying the power.
You gotta come on and humble you.
Man, we don't televise that in Humble because we the humblest. Meaning we humbler. We humbler than the average. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not black. I keep telling you, man, I'm not black. I'm humbler.
Humble you.
Humbler.
There you go.
Okay. But I'm like, bruh, you know how powerful that is?
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful, man, to go off the air for 6 months and come back and people like, I'm waiting on you. God dang. I'm like, I don't even remember the last episode. What happened? The ghost, what happened?
I've been sitting here.
I'm just waiting on
You.
Well, if I go off for 6 months, man, they'll be like, man, I told you, he on there with them t-shirts and hats, all them jokes. He gone. He gone, man. He ain't gonna be, I told you he wasn't serious. He wasn't doing that playing around. But guess what? That ain't gonna happen. And I ain't gonna wait 6 months. I know I'd be dusted. I couldn't even wait 6 months. I'm like, I can't wait a week. I'm ready to go to twice a week. I'm ready to go to twice a week. I'm ready to go to twice a week. Oh, now you ain't got nothing to say. Man, that's all right. I do it on my own, man.
You hear them crickets?
What? Whatever, man. So, I mean, today, and the last topic,
Pick
I know we
Pick
tell
you another day.
Oh, I'm the number one personality. You need to pick a day. You need to come to me with an offer. That's what you need to do. I'm the number one draft choice. What are you talking about?
Do they
Come
do
to
that?
you.
That's how they talk.
That's
about
Humble.
Yeah.
No, I said I'm from Humble. I'm the humblest person you.
Oh, okay.
Man, let me go to my last topic. This is the last topic for the show
Get your book of the
tonight.
week.
The what?
The book of the week.
I got the book of the week, man. Let me do this show, man. You play on that computer, man. Let me do
You
this
forgot
show.
the book of the week 1 week.
1 week, man, out of 57. 1 week. Hey, but the last topic is this. It's called sweat. Listen to this. Sweat equity. Sweat equity. Now, a lot of times in real estate, you hear that term in real estate. People talk about sweat equity, right? And sweat equity is basically where you can have something of value, but for various reasons, you may not have been keeping it up. In the real estate world, that's what it refers to. So you may have something like, you ain't clean your gutters, now your gutters are overflowing, now you got rotten fascia boards or soffits or whatever. Or you might have a deck, something going on with the deck, one of the boards coming off of some of the pickets up, So you have to invest some time back into the house without you having to pay somebody. So it might be something as simple as going to Home Depot, get some mulch, and just put mulch around the trees, and then it brings more value, right? But it's just sweat equity. It's just time that you have to put into it, and then when you put more time into it, now it's more value, right? But the thing I was thinking about is, again, talking about personal finance and talking about personal development, a lot of times when we look at our value, right, how we're being appraised, right, how we appraise ourselves, sometimes you got to put sweat equity back into yourself.
Come on.
Right? And that sweat equity back into yourself is this, not doing it every other day, but doing something like this. You go to the library, you got something that you need, even if it's something simple, right? Like on Saturday, everybody want to go to the cookout, everybody going to such and such. If you took 8 hours out, listen to this, 8 hours. Like you said, hey, I'm going to go to the library, and I'm going to go to the library from 10 to 6 on Saturday, and from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening, the only thing that you worked on was what? Thinking about your next 6 months and what you want to try to achieve and what you're going to do and how you're going to do. If you just sat there and just wrote out information on that from 10 in the morning to 6 in the evening, and you did that every Saturday for a month,
Wow.
boy, it would be over.
Top chef.
Now, that's just one. I'm not even going to go into whatever job that you have or whatever business that you run. Say you run a business. Say you got, okay, we just talked about titles and freedom. Say you got a certain title. If you went to the library on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, clocked in, got your hat on, then had breakfast, and you said from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I'm only going to work on this. Like whatever your job is or whatever your gift is or whatever your entrepreneur event is, if you worked on that for 8 hours, all day Saturday, not even all day. I said from 10 to 6, and did that the whole month. You would be a totally different person. I don't care if you're a mechanic, fish fryer. I don't care if you're from Humboldt.
Hallelujah.
Dog, why you?
You see that?
I don't care if you're from Humboldt. You would be head and shoulders beyond where everybody else that's in that group. What they doing, you would be vibrating at a different frequency.
Are you Humanities?
Man, I can't tell you nothing, man. But just go. So the sweat equity is, and you don't have to pay somebody for that. A lot of times people say, I need a personal trainer. You don't need no personal trainer. You need to just go to the gym and start working out. You don't need no personal trainer for that. I mean, and it's the same thing in life. You have these different coaches. You have these different things that you YouTube, me, all kinds of stuff. But you got to go and put the time. Nothing is a substitute for putting in time. Nothing is a substitute for putting in time. Nothing. I'm talking about with the kids, with the wife, on your craft. It's nothing that can substitute for time. And it ain't no shortcut. It's no shortcut. So all these people that we, want to emulate, like Power. Power's coming on in the next week. Them people been working probably every day for the last 6 months. But we just get ready to see it next week, right? But the last 6 months, they've been grinding. They've been up all night, up all morning. They've been working on studying their lines. So I need to say it this way. Then when he come, I need to stab him in the neck, then shoot him, then kick him. Oh, I thought you said kick him and shoot him. No, stab him, shoot him, then kick him. Oh, okay. And then, so they've been working on that. So you got to work on your craft too. We not exempt, but if you work on your craft, even a young person, right? Some people say, oh, I'm not good at spelling, because you don't practice.
That's right.
This ain't rocket science. You don't practice. I ain't good at math. You know why you ain't good? I don't like math. Yeah, because you don't practice. You don't practice. And I'm going to leave y'all with Book of the Week first, but then I'm going to leave y'all with one more topic from this guy that I was talking about that was from Special Forces that talked about fear. And this is a guy where he like SEAL Team 6. These are the people that you send in before the war starts. You send in the SEALs and the special ops people to go in and to get some type of semblance of what it's going to be, who we need to take out initially, or even sometimes to take out a certain, threat before you even bring in the big guns, right? So these are people that, mission to mission, they fine with not coming back. They good with that. They like, I know I may die. I get it. That's what I signed up for. And they good with that, right? So I asked him this question, right? So this is a man that trains people to be special ops. I said, how do you all cope with fear? How do you address fear? Because you got to be fearful. You sitting out there in the jungle. Are you going to get Bin Laden? Are you going against the Taliban? You going against a suicide bomber? At some point you got to be like, oh my gosh, man, I might not get back to see my kids. I ain't gonna get back to see my wife. I mean, damn. He said, you know what? He said, you know how you conquer fear? He said, first of all, let me tell you what fear is. I said, what? He said, first of all, fear. He said, fear is when you think about all the things that's going to go wrong. And you meditate on it. Not only do you meditate on everything that's going to go wrong, then you take it to a next step is you start thinking about all the people that are going to be talking about you, all the people that's going to be ridiculing you, all of the people that's going to be saying what you're not, all the people that's going to be assassinating your credibility. He said, that's the second. So all this stuff is going on in your mind. That's fear. And that's what cripples you from being able to perform. He said, you know how you conquer fear? Train. He said, we train all the time. He said, we train 3 months. 3 months for one activity.
Wow.
And I said, well, what about sometimes even when you have down, like y'all done train, but now it's in the evening, y'all not attacking people. I said, what do you do when you're not training? You done already trained, but now you still got some downtime. He said, ain't no downtime. He said, in your downtime, guess what you should be doing? More training. He said you should be sharpening your knife, making sure your gun working right, making sure you know how to operate everything. And he said in life, I just told you all about that, going to the library from 10 to 6. He said you should be training all the time. He said so that way, he said we train so much that when something happens, he said we're not worrying about anything happening because we've been training and we prepared for whatever is going to happen. And if something happens that we haven't prepared for, we still are prepared for something. He said, so there ain't no fear. He said, I ain't worried about dying because dying is going to come at the result of me doing what? Not being patient, not training, not putting the time in. So, see all of that? I'm just tying it all together. And all of that was from one conversation from God to me, soul to soul. So I wanted to share that with you all. That's episode 57. We at the top of the hour. Want to thank everybody. Hey, I see my cousin. Man, you need to call me, bruh. You need to call me, man. You the backbone of the Daily Bread Radio Show. You the one told me I was Osiris. You told me I was Osiris, bro. I'm a god, bruh. Call me, man. You know, and I brought it till I ain't heard from you, cuz. So call me, man. Call me. You know, I got all my family called. First Alicia called. I got my goddamn LaValle. George, I see you, man, and I see my kids. I love y'all. I appreciate you. But the book of the week, I had to bring a classic because we've been talking about being intensely patient. We've been talking about training. We've been talking about making sure that we, put in that sweat equity. So the book that I thought about, because every week I think, I said, what book should I do this week and highlight? I had to go back and get, this one is a classic. This is a true classic. And if you don't have a copy, you should go get a copy. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
This book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, when I tell you this book is deep, it seems like it's an easy read, right? It's only like 160 pages, 165 pages. When I tell you this book is deep, this is the antivenom to all the stuff that they brainwashing all of us with. This is the antivenom, right? This is the kryptonite. If you read this book, you will think and act differently if you do the things that he talks about in here. And he talks about things that he shows you exactly what wealthy people do with their money, how they think about money, how there's no, money is just an idea waiting to happen. That's all money is. People with ideas and they put them into play. And if you don't believe me, think about it. Think about all the people that own these apps now. What people get paid for? You get paid for creativity. Do you realize last weekend that Toys R Us was going out of business, right? Did you realize that?
Yeah, I heard something about it.
Why is Toys R Us going out of business?
Internet.
Is it because of Amazon?
Internet.
No. I was talking to my kids about it. They said something that was so deep. I was just like, oh my gosh. And that's true. You know why they going out? Because kids don't play with toys no more. When last time you seen a kid with a toy?
Yeah.
Right? Man, we used to play. I want to be it. Them kids now, they turn on YouTube and be like,
Yeah.
man, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Ooh, he doing that.
Man.
They don't even play with them. Ain't no G.I. Joe, ain't no Big Jim, ain't no Barbie. Kids don't even play with toys. I couldn't wait to get to a toy. If I ain't have a toy, I'll play with a can. I'll be like, this is a toy.
Yeah.
It'll be it'll be a soda bottle. Ooh, you see my car? I ain't even had no. They don't even play with toys, man. It's an idea.
You know what blew my mind, man?
It's an idea. You know what's blowing my mind? You got that hat on over them headphones. That's what's blowing my
I'll
mind.
tell you what blew my mind.
What's blowing your mind, Brian?
Christmas Day.
Uh-huh.
Man, the kids used to be outside riding bikes and playing and doing all kind of things on Christmas. Man, you go outside on Christmas Day, it's
Man, you
ghost
go outside
town,
Christmas now, man.
Ghost town.
You think it's got you
Ghost
think it's a
town.
regular Saturday morning, man.
What in the
I couldn't wait to Christmas, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock the tree down trying to get down to that stuff. But read this book because it's all about. It's not about how much you get. It's about what you do with what you get.
That's right.
It's not about how much. It's about what you do with what you get. It's all about that. Because a person could make $40,000 a year, and they say, "Oh, that ain't a lot of money." 40,000 in 10 years is 400,000. You could take another person that make 100,000 a year, right? So in 10 years, they done made $1 million. The other person made 400,000. But the person that made 400,000, if he's smart or she's smart with how she manages that 400,000 in 10 years, they can have 10 times more than the person that made $1 million. Because the person making 100,000, if they spend $100,001, that's all they need to spend. $100,001. They dusted. They go back to the beginning of the show, broke, right? Just being broke. But you can have a little and start putting away, just like it said in the Bible. Even the goddamn animals prepare for the winter. So just put $10, $15, $20, just put something away. Just put something. If you put something away for 10 years, when you come back in 10 years, guess what? You have a whole lot of something. But if you don't put nothing away, or if you don't have nothing to put away, you come back in 10 years, guess what you're going to have? A whole lot of nothing. So make sure you pick up this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because it's all about us being educated. So that way we can do what? Educate, motivate, elevate. I want to thank y'all for joining the show tonight. Hot episode 57. We on our way to 100. We only got like 43 shows. We've been on 100 gonna be massive.
Yeah.
100 gonna be big, man. You gonna come?
And then we got
You coming? This is my man here. I'm gonna bring him on the show. You gonna be on the next show. Here this summer? Y'all to school for the summer?
Yeah.
All right, get you a topic, man. We're gonna do a kid show next week. You gonna be my guest.
I don't think he'll be here next week.
Put a suit on him too, man. Make him wear a suit up here.
You gonna be here next week? You gonna be a mother?
Whenever he gonna be back during the summer, man.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to check his schedule. Get him a suit and a tie and have him come up here, man. And you could be a radio host. You gonna put on the suit and tie. We ain't going to no funeral. Just teach you how to be professional, like me. You see me with a suit and tie on.
And don't wait. Today?
Man, that's the biggest hat I ever seen, man. I ain't saying you gotta be.
You need to show them that, man. Show them.
Man, I ain't gonna show him, man. You ever seen somebody with a hat this?
Show them what that thing is.
Look at the back. That mug is on. It's on the last little dot. DKM Radio.
There you go.
That's what we do it at. DKM Radio. Home of who? The #1 air personality in the world. Daily Bear Radio Show. But hey, I thank y'all for joining, man. Hey, I thank y'all for the inspiration. I thank y'all for, thank you for my cousin, the judge, calling in and getting this joker straight, like letting them know, like,
She said,
this ain't no game. No, she ain't say nothing.
Okay.
She didn't say nothing. That's what she said.
Okay.
She said nothing.
It's not on the end.
No, it did. No, it did. No, it did. No, it did. You had static in the radio. Static in the radio. So make sure that y'all tune in next week. If you didn't check out Jay Morrison Academy and the real estate trust fund that he's setting up, make sure you go and check that out, man. So that way you can pass that information on to somebody else and we can help some more people. Y'all have a great weekend. Stay hydrated. Heat wave is hitting the southeast, and the northeast for that matter. It's summertime, so make sure you're doing your things and practice. Put that sweat equity to work. Be intensely patient. And watch how your life changes. So I'll see y'all next week, 8 to 9, DKM Radio, the Daily Bread Radio Show. I love y'all. Peace. Oh, man. Without you. Just what to play. I would have you should have played the Commodores, man.
Commodores?
You ain't played that in a while.
Now I see how you were there for me, and I can say never would have made it.
That was an awesome show.
Yes, sir.
But
Never could